Good afternoon and welcome to today's lunch break with the Rabbi. I'd like to begin by saying I want to dedicate today's lunch break with the Rabbi with an unfortunate recent passing to the memory of Rabbi Yehuda Dukes, who just passed away today, a young man of 39 years old, after suffering for 10 months. Unfortunately, he returned his soul to his creator today. He was somebody who was very instrumental in helping many Jews study Torah from the confines of their home. He was the director of the JNet organization. So I want today's class to be for his neshama. It should be an aliyah. It should be a blessing for his soul. And that we should only be able to share good, happy, healthy news in the future. Today's class, we're going to talk about this upcoming Shabbos, which is Yud Shvat. And Thursday, we always discuss the upcoming Torah reading of the week, and we discuss the upcoming events of the week. And today, this coming Shabbos, is going to be the 10th of Shvat. The 10th of Shvat on the Chabad calendar is a very important day. It is first and foremost the Yartzeit, the anniversary of the passing of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe 71 years ago. But more effectively to us and timely to us here sitting in together with this class is the anniversary of the day that the Rebbe officially assumed leadership 70 years ago. And today I want to discuss our lunch break together with you about these events and the view and the paradigm shift that the Rebbe gave to the world. We look at the world, especially in today's day and age. One may view it as a jungle. People running wild. People doing things never imaginable. The world is in chaos. The world looks like it's at its edge. The craziest things that we've never imagined to happen are happening. Values, morals are in all decay, all-time low. There's nothing anymore for somebody's word. Even leaving politicians out of this. The world looks like it's in chaos. The Rebbe 70 years ago, fresh from the Holocaust, fresh from chaos that destroyed the Hasidic brotherhood, the Rebbe's own family, he was almost only a sole survivor. Him, his mother, and his brother were the only ones left of their entire family. He almost came with nothing, barely made it across the waters from Nazi Germany to America to safety. And not even 10 years later, the Rebbe stands up in his opening remarks on the day that he officially assumes leadership and begins with a verse of Song of Songs. And he says as follows: God tells the Jewish people, "Come to my garden, my sister, my bride." And the Rebbe over here in this mimer, in this Hasidic discourse that he said 70 years ago, Shabbos to the day, the Rebbe explained and outlined his view at the world, his mission statement for the next 40 years, and what he demands of us, the people, admirers, followers of the Rebbe, Jews worldwide. What does the situation look like? It may look bleak, it may look terrible, and it may look chaotic. But the Rebbe reminds us of how we have to look at the world. You have a fruit. Where is the best part of the fruit? Only after you knock away the peel, the crack, the nut, to be able to see what's inside the tasty fruit. But the Rebbe goes a step further. And the Rebbe says in Song of Songs, King Solomon doesn't refer to the world as a field, but as a garden. What's the difference between a garden and a field? A garden is where you have fruits that you don't necessarily have to have. They're more pleasurable. While a field, you need to have wheat, barley, and those are major necessities of sustenance for one to survive. God created the world with those necessities that we can survive regardless of the times. But God wants us to make this world a garden. He wants us to take the soil, toil with it, uproot it, get the weeds out, and make it a beautiful place. Not only a necessity, but a luxury. How do we do that? So let's step a little further back. The Talmud tells us that when God created the world on the sixth day of creation, he says it was good, but then he says it was very good. And the Talmud explains and says good was the godly inclination, the good inclination, and very good was the evil inclination. Why is the evil inclination very good? Isn't that what inspires us and causes us to do bad and harm? Why is it called very good? And as Hasidism explains, first of all, on the very basic level, if we don't have competition, what entices us? What gives us the impetus to do something good? So the evil inclination is there, number one, to inspire us to do the right thing by trying to get us to do the wrong thing. But the Rebbe takes it up a step further. When you look at a garden, you start seeing, what are the weeds I need to pull out? The Rebbe tells us that there are no weeds in this garden. Even the weeds can be used, can be eaten, and can be even used as fertilizer, whatever you want. But there are no weeds in this garden. Even the evil inclination is very good. Why? Because God created this world in a way that he wanted that the divine presence should be in the most lowest of all worlds. In Hebrew, the word is tachtonim, in the lowest world. God had a craving and a desire to create an oasis of godliness within the physical, mundane world, within the egotistic, narcissistic, materialistic world. Now, if there wouldn't be ego, if there wouldn't be narcissism, and there wouldn't be materialism, God wouldn't be able to have that beautiful abode. So we need to have, so to speak, that egotistic individual, that self-centered person, to, so to speak, allow God into his self-centeredness. What does that mean? Egotism, let's take, for example, seems like a very terrible thing. But what do we do when a person has the ego? So there's two ways one can go about it. Either knock it out completely, become this absolute humble being, which we know can be difficult, or use the ego for holiness. Use the self-centeredness for holiness. You may ask, how is that possible? How is it possible for a person to use ego, self-centeredness? It looks like the antithesis of anything holy. And would be disgusted by something of holiness. But here comes the lesson. In everything that God created in the world, everything, there is good. Even the evil inclination is called very good. That means we can find the good in everything that exists in this world and use it for the right reason. So let's take ego, for example. When a person has an ego about who they are, they say to themselves, me, the great, should fall so low and do something so terrible. So his ego can save him from doing the sin, from falling prey to doing something wrong. The self-centeredness as well. I have to take care of my family, think about myself. Would I do something so terrible that would jeopardize my family or myself? So the self-centeredness, the ego, the rationale of even materialism, instead of pulling out the weed, use the weed, make it something great. Make it a garden. What Judaism teaches us, and what the Rebbe imbued within every single one of us starting with 70 years ago, that there is no such thing as something that can't be found a way to use it for holiness. Every single item that God created in the world, every single thing that God put in front of us, he is waiting for us to make it a garden. He wants us to make it holy. And this was the Rebbe's MO throughout his life and throughout the time that he was the leader of Lubavitch, throughout his lifetime, and it continues, was to take all the things in the world that can be, so to speak, used maybe not for the holiest of things. For example, television. The Rebbe broadcasted his Farbrengens and discourses on television. The first one to have a website was Chabad.org. All these type of things, using the mediums of the world to be able to channel spirituality and transform them into something holy. And this was all on target to the mission that the Rebbe began in making this world a holy place, making the lowest level the divine presence. That was the objective of why God created the world. We know that because when Mashiach comes, the world will be absolute spiritual. And how does that become absolute spirituality? Is only through us, while we are renowned during the time of exile. While we may view this world as a jungle, the Rebbe tells us it's not a jungle. In fact, it's a beautiful garden that we need to tend to. And we just need to sow and plow and tend to its vegetables and fruits, and we will have a beautiful vineyard. It's just in our hands. It's our view of things. Do I view something chaotic or just getting excited? They used to say, a person is crazy. That's if he doesn't have money. But if he's wealthy, then he's eccentric. Everything is only the perspective and the reason why you put things in perspective. We need to be able to understand and realize that the Rebbe gave us a paradigm shift to view a Jew differently, to view a person differently, to view our objective in this world differently. To realize that when we see something negative, it is our fault because we are wearing dark glasses. We have to be able to find the positive that exists within anything in this world. And when we strike and look for the positive, we will be attracted to positive. We will be attracted to positivity and to goodness and to kindness, and it will bring out the best within us and the best within the people around us. So as we come closer to this holy day, the day of Yud Shvat, the 10th of Shvat, the day that the Rebbe assumed leadership 70 years ago, let us all heed the call that the Rebbe gives us, making a garden of this wonderful jungle we live in, seeing this world and seeing people for the best that's in them, to be able to bring out and appreciate the wonderful beauty within every individual, to live our life in a more positive light. I know at this time things can be very tough, and it can be very difficult for people to say how, but how, where, what, when. Think about it. Start your day off with thanking God the very fact you're alive. Then move from there and realize the great kindness that God is doing with every single one of us. And realize that the people are inherently not bad. Yes, we all have our little quirks and our little differences. But if we look positive at every person, and if we look to be able to strive to create that positivity bias within the individual and within the world, we will be attracted to positivity. We will see positive things, and we will bring about the greatest positive idea, the coming of Mashiach. Let us join together to stay positive, to think good, and to see the good in every person, making this world God's beautiful garden. Good Shabbos, have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, and God willing, we'll see you again on Monday, lunch break with the Rabbi at 1 p.m. At this point, I also want to remind you, if anybody has any questions or comments that you'd like us to discuss in future classes, please feel free to share them with us, and we can then discuss them in future classes on lunch break with the Rabbi. Always here to listen to any ideas that you may have. Have a wonderful Shabbos. God bless you. Again, let's make this world a beautiful garden. All the best.